Welcome to my YouTube channel Learn with Lakineni. So here I am preparing Python videos from basics to advanced concepts. As a part of this, till now I have created videos up to Python and Python comprehensions. List. So in this tutorial, I am going to explain what is a tuple data structure in Python. In the previous tutorial, I have explained what is the list and what are the list comprehensions. So here a tuple is also like a list, but the basic difference is a list is mutable, a tuple is immutable. Once the tuple is created, you cannot change the elements. So that's why it is immutable. That means you can call a tuple is a read-only list, read-only version of list. That means once it is created, you cannot do any modifications on the elements. So here tuple is exactly like a list. Tuple is exactly like a list, but it is immutable. That means once we create tuple object, we cannot perform any changes in the object. That is the difference between a tuple and a list. Then we can call a tuple as a read-only version of list. A tuple is a read-only version of list. In some situations, when you are writing the programs, somewhere you want to fix your data. That data cannot be modified by anyone. If you have set of objects and you want to fix those objects which cannot be modified further by anyone, in such cases you need a data structure. If you declare those elements, those objects in the data structure, those elements cannot be modified by anyone. In such cases, in such applications, we can go with a tuple concept. So if our data is fixed and never changes, then we should go for tuple. Okay, so here tuple preserves the insertion order, tuple allows the duplication, tuple allows heterogeneous objects like list. Like list you can insert, like list it can preserve the insertion order. Like list it preserves insertion order, and also it allows duplicate elements, it allows homogeneous objects. But the thing is, once we have created the tuple, there is no chance of modifying the objects in the tuple. It is completely immutable. So that means we can preserve insertion order and we can differentiate duplicate objects by using index. Hence, index will play a very important role in tuple also. So we have a same indexing concept like list in tuple also. You can access the elements in the tuple. We can retrieve a particular element from the tuple by using indexing concept. Here also we have both positive index and negative index while accessing the elements from the given tuple. Positive index means forward direction, that means from left to right. Negative indexing means backward direction, that is from right to left. As the same we have discussed in the list concept. We have both positive indexing and negative indexing. We can represent tuple elements within the parentheses. That means we will use parentheses. In that we will write the tuple elements. Suppose if we take the square brackets, in the square brackets we are writing the list elements. So when it comes to the tuple, we will take the parentheses and we will keep the elements into the tuple. So tuple elements within the parentheses, and all elements are separated with a comma separator. All elements in the tuple are separated with a comma element. Parentheses are optional. Parentheses are optional, but recommended to use parentheses. Even though if you don't use the parentheses, then also you can create a tuple object. But it is customary, it is recommended to use parentheses to clearly identify that it is a tuple. So what is a tuple? A tuple is a data structure In Python, it is similar like a list, but the major difference between a tuple and a list is tuple is immutable. That means once you have created the objects into the tuple, you cannot change. Tuple preserves the insertion order. Tuple allows the duplicate elements. Tuple allows the heterogeneous objects. You can access the elements in the tuple by using positive indexing and negative indexing, but only the thing is you cannot change the objects in the tuple once it is created. So if any situation in any application, if you are writing a program in which if you are not interested to change the elements or those elements cannot be changed by anyone, in such cases, if you declare those objects in the form of a tuple, then no one can change the elements. Okay. Now we will go with each and every method of tuple and explain what the different methods, how to access the elements in the tuple and various concepts of tuples. Here we will go with some practical examples on tuples. Suppose how to create a tuple. So we can create a tuple by using parentheses. Suppose if you write t is equal to if you take the parentheses here 10 comma 20 comma 30. So this is the tuple. Here I have created 3 elements within the parentheses. Now I want to see the type of t. I want to see the type of t, and I want to print type of c. I want to print type of c, and I want to print t. Suppose if you want to see the type of the tuple, here the type of the tuple is class tuple. That means here I have created a tuple. Here so that is a way of creating a tuple with a set of elements in the parentheses. Suppose if you want to create a single element in tuple, you have to create a single element within the parentheses. Suppose I am creating 20. So if you write like this, and if you are thinking that you are creating a single element in the tuple with a parenthesis and you are assigning to a variable. Suppose if you write the type of t, it is showing that it is an integer. It is not a tuple. Why? Because in tuple, if you want to store a single element, you have to store the single element with a comma. That means suppose if I write t is equal to 20 comma 20 comma, then if you see the type of t, now it is a tuple. So in Python tuples, if you want to store a single element, you have to write that element and followed by a comma. Then it will be treated as a tuple. Okay. Suppose here I am creating a tuple. As I already informed, a tuple is a immutable data type. So that means you can, once you create a tuple, you cannot change any modifications to the tuple elements. Suppose here I am creating a tuple with the elements 10 comma 20 30. So these are some elements in the tuple. Suppose if you want to know the number of elements in the tuple, you just use the general function length. So now it is saying that there are 9 elements in the tuple. Suppose if you want to know the minimum number of elements, the minimum element in the given tuple, you just write the min of t, then the minimum element is 10. So min length are the common general purpose functions which can be applied on any iterable object. Suppose if you want to know the max element, you just write max of t, then it gives 60 as the maximum element in the given tuple. So as I already informed, the tuple is immutable. Suppose if you want to do any modification to the tuple object, it won't be possible. Suppose here I am writing t. Suppose if you want to print, if you want to know the element at index 2, so here the element at index 2 is 40. Suppose if you want to make modification to the element at index 2, index 2 is equal to, suppose I am writing 100. I am writing 100. Now, immediately you will get an error that item assignment is not possible. That means you want to assign this 100 to the element at index 2. Now, immediately you are getting a type error. What is it saying? That tuple object does not support item assignment because a tuple is immutable. Once the tuple is created at any cost, you are not supposed to change the elements in the tuple. So, item assignment is not possible in the tuple. So, what are the major methods available in the tuple are? Suppose, if you want to know how many times the element 30 comes, suppose if you see T, so there are 2 times the element 30 came. Suppose if you want to know how many times the element 30 comes in the tuple, you can write like this: T dot count of element. I want to know how many times 30 came into the tuple. So 2 times the element 30 occurred in the given tuple. Suppose if you write T dot count of 20. Now it is saying that the element 20 comes only one time. T dot count of suppose 40 comes 2 times in the given tuple. So count is a method in the class tuple which gives the number of occurrences of the given element. So here simply you take the tuple object and the method and you give the element. So now it counts the number of times the element 40 occurred in the tuple T. So count is a method in tuple class. Similarly, if you want to know an index of a particular element, you just write T dot index of suppose 40. I want to know the index of 40. So the index of 40 is 2. That means it gives the first occurrence of the element. So here 40 comes here and 40 also comes here. But the index method gives the first occurrence index of the given element. Here the first occurrence of the 40 is at index 2. So now it is showing T dot index of 40 is at index 2. At index 2. So at index 2 it comes 2 times. At index 2 the 40 element is first occurred. Okay. So this is the way of using the index. Suppose if you want to know some other index, suppose if I write T dot I want to know the index of element 30. Elements of 30. So here the element 30 occurred at index 3 in the given tuple. So this is the way of using the tuple. Suppose if you want to sort the elements in the tuple, there is no sort method in the tuple object, but the general sorted method can be applied, and after sorting the elements can be stored in some other new tuple. So here I am writing T1 is equal to sorted T1 is equal to sorted of T. Now if you print T1, if you print T1, so here what happens? The elements are sorted in the ascending order. The elements are sorted in the ascending order. You cannot change the original object. You cannot change the original tuple. You cannot change the elements in the original tuple in the sorting order. You just create another tuple and this resultant value will be stored in tuple T1. Now if you print tuple T1, so all the elements comes into ascending order. Suppose if you use reverse is equal to true. Suppose if you write T1 is equal to sorted of reverse is equal to true, reverse is equal to true, then if you print T1, so you can see here you have to give here sorted. So on which object you want to sort? T object. Reverse is equal to true. Reverse is equal to true means after sorting you want to keep the elements in the descending order. If you don't mention reverse is equal to true, by default all the elements will be in the ascending order. If you mention reverse is equal to true, so it gives the elements in the sorting order, but in a reverse manner. That means higher to lower. So this is the higher element, this is the lower element. So this is the way of sorting the elements of tuple, but after sorting you have to keep those sorted elements into a new tuple, but you cannot change, you cannot make any change, those modifications in the original tuple. Now, there is some important concept in tuple is tuple packing. Tuple packing. Tuple packing and unpacking. Tuple packing and unpacking. Tuple packing and unpacking. If you see the tuple packing and unpacking concept, suppose if you want to store several elements into a single variable, then automatically those elements will be stored as a tuple in the given variable. Suppose if you see the type of T, it is saying that it is tuple. This is called as packing. So instead of using braces, parentheses to define a tuple, we can simply use the elements separated by a comma and you can store in a single variable. Now those elements will be packed and will be treated as a tuple. So here T is equal to 20, 30, 40, 50. So those four variables are stored in a single variable T. Those four values are stored in a single variable T and in the form of a tuple. This is called as tuple packing. Suppose if you unpack it, here I am taking A comma, B comma, C comma, D. There are four values in the tuple, so that I have taken four variables and simply I have assigned that tuple T to the four variables. Now if you print A, so 20 will be printed. If you print B, 30 will be printed. If you print C, 40 is printed. If you print D, 50 is printed. That means what happened? Here, what are the elements you have given? You have given 20, 30, 40, 50. So these are the elements in the tuple. Now this is called as packing. Now you want to unpack it. Here I am giving four variable names A, B, C, D, and I am storing. I have simply given the tuple variable name. That means here what happens? This 20 will be assigned to A, this 30 will be assigned to B, and this 40 will be assigned to C, and this 50 is assigned to D. So this is what is called tuple unpacking. So without parentheses also, you have a chance to create the tuple object, but it is not a good practice to create a tuple object without parentheses. So if you create a tuple, if you want to assign a set of values into a single variable, by default your Python interpreter will treat that variable as a tuple object. Okay, so this is what is called tuple packing and tuple unpacking. Similarly, suppose if you want to know the element at index 2, just you write tuple of T of 2, that means the element at index 2 will be printed. Suppose if you write T of 1, the element at index 1 will be printed. Suppose you want a sequence of elements that by using slicing, suppose 1 to 4, that means 1, 2, 3, 1 to n minus 1, that means here this is your starting index, this is your end minus 1, that means 1, 2, 3. So the element at index 1, 2, 3 will be printed. So these are the elements at the index 1, 2, 3. That means you can happily apply the negative indexing or positive indexing concept in the tuple. Suppose if you write T of minus 1, then it gives the last element of the tuple. So either positive indexing or negative indexing or slicing operations can be applied on the tuple. Okay, but at any cost you cannot modify the elements in the tuple. Suppose if I take another tuple T1 is equal to T1 1 colon 4. That means another new tuple was created with the name T1. Those elements, those sliced elements are stored in the tuple T1. So 30, 40, 50. So these are the different ways of using the tuple. Okay, so there are less methods with the tuple because you cannot modify the elements in the tuple. That's why the element, you cannot remove the elements and you cannot delete the elements. That means tuple is fixed once it is created. It is not growable in nature. Either you cannot increase the elements by inserting the elements into the array, into the tuple, or you cannot delete the elements from the tuple. So this is the basic information about Python tuples. In the next videos, I will do some exercises on the Python tuples so that you will have more idea on the tuple. Okay, please watch the video once again and please practice it. Then you will understand the concepts of the tuple. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have watched the entire video on the tuple. So if you really like this video, please subscribe to my channel, Learn with Lakineni, so that you will get more updates from our channel. Please like it, share it, comment it, so that it will be benefit to do more number of videos from our side. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.